The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the program's participants and do not necessarily reflect those of station staff, management, and advertisers.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Thursday. Welcome. Pushing the limits. Of course, we're on the YouTube Super Chat. Pushing the Limits out live. We're on X. We're on Twitch. We're on the FMAM dial. And we appreciate you guys being here. Obviously, a lot of news to cover today. Tom Homan announcing they're completely pulling back for the most part when it comes to Minneapolis. And plenty else to talk about the fallout of Pam Bondi's testimony under oath yesterday, which was probably one of the craziest hearings in D.C. that I've ever been a witness to. There's a lot of other stuff to talk about as well, including the new Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump spygate scandal. Yes, that's right. We're now learning new information that congressmen, congresswomen that were lawmakers that were looking at unredacted versions of the Epstein files in that room with 4 computers, if you recall. Well, now we're learning that the Trump administration was spying on them, seeing exactly what they were looking up. I would imagine some sort of intimidation technique. So there's a lot of breaking news to talk about today. I did a 3.5-hour debate last night with Tom Rentz. It started pretty friendly and casual, and then it got a little heated. It got a little crazy. That's up on my YouTube page if you want to check that out. But starting the show off today, always fun having him on. Of course, popular left-wing podcaster Ryan Shedd joining us right now on the program. Ryan, it's good to see you. How are you?
I'm doing good, brother. Thanks for still trucking it out. I know you're still a little under the weather over there.
I don't know what it is. I think it's maybe just a little bit of going out too much, maybe a little bit of stress. I don't know. Maybe having to talk about Donald Trump every day that sometimes affects my health. I don't know what it is, Ryan.
All of those.
probably all of the above, but
right?
I appreciate you being here, Ryan. Thank you. So before I get to Pam Bondi and Tom Homan, this is a big deal because we heard about Republicans complaining about Obama Spygate for years. They still talk about it. Yep. And now we're learning that they did the exact same thing, only even worse, because these are, politicians that just want justice for the victims. And now they're spying on what exactly they were looking up in these unredacted Epstein files. What do you make of this story? Story's not going away.
No, it's not. And the part to me that's even more nefarious with this is that, they're tracking politicians, and it's not for national security. Let's be very honest about that. It's for a personal agenda. It's for Trump's agenda. They are literally tracking these politicians to see what they know and what they have to counter to keep protecting Trump. Like, it is so bad.
Yeah, I think I think it's repulsive, and it goes to, and we're going to get into Pam Bondi here. I'm going to ask you about that, but it seems as though they're going out of their way to try to protect Donald Trump.
Yeah. And they're
doing absolutely nothing to try and not only protect the victims, but get justice for the victims. I mean, it's repulsive.
Justice for the victims was never part of this agenda. That much is very evident. The fact that they are covering for not just Trump, but everybody in these files. And I don't think we've even seen the worst of it yet.
Agreed.
Like you said, we're watching congressional hearings where these victims are showing up, and we have this administration can't even look at them and say, we're going to get to the bottom of this. We're going to get, we're going to get the people that did this to you. They can't do that because the people that did that to them are currently in the government. That's why it's not happening.
That's a good point.
Again, they're spying on us. The FBI came to my house last time I was on the show. We talked about that.
Yep.
They're not just spying on the politicians. They're spying on the content creators, the left-wing people. They're spying on Brian. They're spying on all of us. If you are against this Trump administration and they deem you to be any kind of threat to him or their agenda, you are being tracked and they are waiting to pounce. But like you said, the even more, God, what's the right word? The worst part about this is that you have women, these women in Congress now know that there are people in their phones, you know, watching what they text, watching probably in their photos, you know, so there's just so many different levels you can attack this on. Like you said, it's disgusting. Disgusting
Yeah.
kind of encompasses it all.
Utterly disgusting. And then, you know, along the same lines of the Epstein files is Pam Bondi's testimony yesterday.
Bro.
Where that's exactly what I expected, to be honest with you. She, what do you make of the fact that this is the attorney general and she has note cards for every Democrat politician that's asking her questions about the Epstein files, where we know for sure that there were a lot of children that were sexually abused. It's horrific.
Yeah.
And yet she takes the time. She can't even memorize things. So she has to have some of her assistants. And this isn't an opinion. We saw it.
Yeah, we watched it.
Note cards that she has to look at, attacking Democrat lawmakers on Capitol Hill, not answering and refusing to answer very basic questions about the Epstein files. I mean, what do you make of that?
Well, I mean, let's start with what you just said. She needed note cards to attack.
Right.
You know, it wasn't somebody handing her note cards to give her, like, you know, numbers or stats that, you know, one of the members of Congress asked for. That, I'd understand that. You don't have stats memorized. Cool. Got it. But like you said, no, she was getting, you know, attack so-and-so about this. Like, really? That's your whole freaking agenda here? And by the way, if your response to, will you acknowledge the victims behind you and tell them you're going to get justice for them, is look at the stock market. How's your 401ks looking?
Yeah. I thought that was a very important part. And we all know
what
speaking to an audience of one, right? Trump.
Yep.
And I agree with you. She had an opportunity, even if she didn't want to apologize to the victims, right?
Yeah.
She had an opportunity to say something, to show some leadership, to turn around and say, I'm so sorry what happened to you. She could have shown some human decency, which we know that Pam Bondi doesn't have.
Zero empathy.
Right. Instead of, correct. And instead of showing any empathy at all, she started talking about the Dow.
Yeah,
I mean, these are very sick people. And
I mean, we were actually live. We were actually interviewing Amy McGrath as all that was happening. And the producer, our producer, Keith, put in the comments, he's like, I got a video of this. You're not going to believe it. So we literally watched it on air live. And literally after it, I was just like, I was dumbfounded. I was like, did she literally just pivot from sexual abuse victims to the stock market? So that's the problem. These people that support Trump, like that's it in and of itself. We don't care if he's an abuser or whatever, because he makes money. He makes us all money. So he can get away with whatever. That's what I heard when she made that comment. I'm like, so as long as you have money, or as long as you're doing well financially, who cares?
There are so many points in the testimony yesterday that we could point to, but I think one of the points that I wanted to bring up, which I thought was an important one, was when Eric Swalwell asked her, was Donald Trump partying with Epstein with any underage girls? It was a very generic question that was asked. It's a yes or no. And she refused to answer the question, just like Kash Patel refused to answer 6 months ago.
Just like Jeffrey Epstein refused to answer in 2010.
Correct. I mean, the fact that she wouldn't even answer that question leads me to believe, in my opinion, beyond the shadow of a doubt, that he was partying with underage girls, and it's probably in the 3 million files that we have yet to see.
Look, Pam Bondi, she may be insane and she may be a loyalist, but that right there shows you she's not stupid. She's not going to give it to him on a platter like that. Not saying she didn't lie about other things possibly under oath, but she sure as heck wasn't going to give him that one, because it's too easy to prove.
It's
too easy to prove. And like I said, all they'd have to do is pull that video up of Epstein in deposition when he was asked that exact same question, saying, sorry, I plead the fifth.
Right. And it's just like when Kash Patel said that Trump's name wasn't in the files over 100 times. He said that under oath. Clearly he lied.
38,000 times is what he meant.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But like, I'm trying to say to myself, he lied under oath. That's not a mistake.
No.
Why can't he be held responsible for that? Like, I don't understand why Democrats aren't going after him for that.
You know, I mean, that's a good question. And, one side of me wants to definitely point my finger at the Democrats, but also the other side of me, standing where I'm standing, is like, we got to pick and choose our battles. We only have so much bandwidth. And I'm a big proponent of saying we can multitask here. Like, we can still demand the Epstein files and still, hold these, what other things are going on, accountable.
Right.
What I want to see is, I want to see whoever's running for president in 2028 and even the midterms. You need to start campaigning on, we are going to fix this, 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 and this, or we are going to remove this, 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 and this. For example, if you campaigned on the first day in office, I'm going to remove Trump's name from any government building that he put it on, I'll vote for you. If you campaign on, I'm going to overturn any executive order or law signed by a convicted felon, I'll vote for you. It's pretty simple at this point.
Yeah.
Undo everything these people are doing. Stop the deregulation. They're talking about amping up coal usage, and then today came out and said that they're removing a 2009 report that the EPA did on climate change.
Yeah.
Now the information didn't change. They're just saying, we're just going to revoke it so that Trump can keep pushing his coal initiatives. Are you freaking insane?
I don't know what world we are living in right now,
bro.
It seems to be getting worse and worse by the day. And this comes on the heels, of course, of Alex Preddy and Renee Good. I don't know if you saw the video that I just watched earlier this morning, body cam footage of a woman that ICE shot 5 times.
Yeah.
And they claimed that she was at fault, that she boxed them in. Basically, everything they said was a lie. Because when you actually see the body camera footage, and CNN did a great job. I think it was Miguel Jimenez, who I think is a great reporter, who broke down.
A good job with that
Yeah,
one.
everything they said was a lie. And Bovino and Noam, they were all praising these officers and the officer that shot her 5 times. Thank God she's still alive. And they dropped.
They got it on tape.
Her. They dropped all the charges on her. In fact, it was the prosecutors that asked. This is unprecedented. That asked the judge to drop the charges. The judge agreed
because they knew they were going to lose.
Right, but everything in that video exposes every lie that they told. And I say the same thing about Renee Good. I say the same thing about Alex Preddy. They're lying. And in this video, it's amazing because those officers who almost executed her, and they're the ones who rammed into her vehicle. They're the ones that escalated. She wasn't boxing them in. And those officers are still on the streets. They're not even on paid administrative leave. They're still on the streets. They should be convicted for crimes. It's insane, Ryan. It's insane.
No, it is. And, when you talk about, can we trust this government? Can we trust law enforcement? Right now, we can't. Honestly, I'm not sure we ever could. I just think this is finally revealing it to a lot of us. Look no further than what happened, I think, yesterday. So we hear that El Paso's air traffic is getting shut down for 10 days. So that instantly makes everybody's ears go, huh? And then they come back and say, it's going to be like a few hours. And then they come back and say it's open back up. They said that it was because of a cartel drone attack or incursion in airspace, whatever they called it. Fast forward a few hours, turns out that they shot down some party balloons. Didn't correct themselves. The news agencies all did. And I think the military made a statement, but the White House, they never acknowledged that they were wrong. So how did we go from cartel drone to a balloon? It's like they have to push their agenda constantly, but they lie so much. It's like they don't even, their self-awareness is zero.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, their supporters, they keep supporting them. Like they'll listen to people like you and me, lay it out for them, draw it in crayon, and they're still going to go, yeah, but he's good for the economy. Even though we've hit the worst job since 2003, the worst economy in a non-recession era. But yeah, he's great for the economy. I'm sure you're paying lower grocery prices.
Yeah, we're not. And you bring up balloons. I remember when we had those Chinese balloons up there when Biden was president and Republicans were saying that he was going to start World War III. Yeah, I don't think we had World War III there. But, I look at where we're at now, and Tom Homan obviously just announced that they're pretty much withdrawing for the most part from Minneapolis. And he's saying, well, things weren't perfect, but look at all that we accomplished. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, if you deport some violent criminals, I think that's great, but that could happen everywhere. And then I think of what has taken place here with these 2 individuals, in my estimation, that were murdered, and I'm standing by my opinions on that. And I look at all these illegal detained people, taking away their First, Second, Fourth Amendment rights. And I say to myself, how could you look at us and look at the American people and say this was a success? Well, it wasn't perfect, but we did some great things. And I'm going to tell you something. They would still be there if not for all those. I'm just going to call them heroes. Okay. If you're out there and you're peacefully protesting and you've been out there for days and weeks, I commend you, because without all of you out there, I don't think Tom Homan would have gotten them out of there. I really don't.
No, I think this is definitely, I think you're right. This is a huge win for not only the people of, Minnesota and Minneapolis, but really all of us, because it showed that if you think you're going to roll into these cities, especially Democrat cities and states, and do what you want, you're sadly mistaken. And so, like you said, thank you to all the people, and not even the local people. I know a lot of people that, went in there to report and use their platforms to, get the message out of what was really happening. So there's a lot of people that put in the work. And, Tom Homan is going back to Washington, D.C. with his tail tucked between his legs after being there for a week or two to relieve Bavino. So, I mean, you guys did it. And this is the way. But more importantly, I want to acknowledge that you guys are also risking yourselves. You're risking your lives literally, because that's all that some of these folks, that's all Mr. Pruitt was doing. That's all Amy was doing. So First Amendment is under attack, and we have to keep doing what we're doing. Stay safe, stay in groups if you can, bring those whistles, keep the cameras on, and keep the pressure on, because it's working.
Yeah, no question about that. What do you make of so many on the right making claims? And I've talked to even some elected officials on the right in Minneapolis that are making unsubstantiated claims that these protesters are all paid protesters. And I asked them a couple of very simple questions. If you're going to make a claim like that, where's your evidence? Who's paying them?
Yeah.
What organization is paying them? Where is your evidence? And they can't answer that question, but yet they keep making these claims that all these protesters, they did the same thing, as you know, Ryan, during the No Kings protest. They're all paid protesters with no evidence to back it up. I mean, I'm sure you've heard this as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we were out there. And by the way, there's going to be another No Kings protest. I think it's March 28th.
I'll be there.
Yeah, the date's on my page. So if you can show up, look, man, these people are angry because we're organizing. They're upset because it's working, and they're upset because we aren't getting paid. And as you said, anytime that I make a claim online, especially if I'm going at the right, I bring these things called receipts, like you just said. So if I'm going to make a claim that, so-and-so is being paid, so let's say Tim Pool, I know Tim Pool's being paid by people. So I feel comfortable saying that, and I'm sure that I could go find some receipts. But if you don't have that, and you see all these people out there in every city, and that's what they're worried about. That's why they're telling themselves we're all paid. No, we're not. No, we're not. We're out there because it's the right thing to do, because you're encroaching on our rights, because some of us have kids and we see where this country is going, and that's not the world or the country we want our children living in. And in case you haven't figured it out, whether you have children or not, my children and our children are the future of this country. So if we don't start educating them, getting serious, we're going to get left behind by countries like China and freaking England. Come on.
That's a good point. I hate to bring up John Fetterman because I think he's an absolute fool and a disgrace. And I can give you many reasons why I say that, because when he was first elected and when he had those health issues, I backed him and I defended him.
A lot of us did.
And now I see what he's doing as far as, it's not that I have a difference of opinion. It's that he's coddling to the MAGA right. Example today. He knows that people have been murdered in Minneapolis. Yeah. He knows that attacks on the Somalians and minorities in communities really all over the country, especially Minneapolis. What did he choose to talk about today? His grievances were that people on social media are being really nasty to Kristi Noem because they're calling her Ice Barbie. He spoke about this on Capitol Hill today. He didn't want to talk about the way ICE are treating some of these people as animals. He didn't want to talk about Renee Good or Alex Preddy. He didn't want to talk about the fact that this woman, Kristi Noem, called Alex Preddy a domestic terrorist. Same thing with Renee Good. He didn't want to talk about any of those things, but he seems to be upset that there are some people on social media that are calling her Ice Barbie. By the way, I will call her Ice Barbie every single day on this show because of you, John Fetterman. So thank you for that. This is the moron. And by the way, why do they call her Ice Barbie? Because she's a cosplay idiot. Look at what she wears when she's out on the field. And John Fetterman is the last person that should be talking about what somebody is wearing when this idiot walks into the House chambers wearing flip-flops and a sweatshirt because he's a slob and a fool.
Yeah, that should have definitely been our first red flag. Look, man, I've been very critical of John Fetterman. I think we could sit here and make excuses because, medically speaking, this isn't uncommon for people to have strokes for their actual personalities to change and their views to change. So I'm not a doctor. I don't know how much of that is contributing to the shift we've seen, but I think majority of us can agree that we've seen a major shift in what he says and what he supports. If Ice Barbie upsets you, I've got about 5 other things I call her that's really going to piss you off. I can't do it on this show because we're not trying to get Brian booted off the air, but you can use your imagination.
Yeah.
Like you said, if you're more worried about name calling while you're simultaneously supporting Trump, by the way, which he does nothing but name calling, Miss Piggy. But I just don't understand how you can simultaneously be doing that. And
I don't know why.
Can we get these people out? Can we just remove these people?
I hope
like
so.
Medically, he is not there. This is not what the people voted for. And again, I'm not trying to trash it. Look, man, I've had my colon taken out. I'm a disabled vet. I'm not attacking him for that. It sucks, but we can't ignore it either. If we can see a huge change in his personality that may be directly connected to a medical problem that he had, then yeah, I think there's a discussion to freaking be had there. But unfortunately, we don't have anybody in this government that is willing to do the heavy lifting, like removing a senator that may not be medically qualified or stopping a convicted felon from being president.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that the stroke that he had might have changed his personality. It might have changed his view. I don't know because I'm not a doctor, but I think that's a very fair question to ask.
I'd love to get a neuro, somebody that does that. I'd love to hear what they say about it.
And listen, I don't think what people wear in the House chambers is the biggest issue on my mind, but for God's sakes, man, I'm not saying you have to wear a tie.
Professionalism, though.
But hey, have some sense of professional. When you're wearing button-up pants, okay, sandals, and a sweatshirt, you're an embarrassment.
Like the first job I had as a 16-year-old, there was a dress code. You're like you said, you're a grown man. You really shouldn't need us to go, hey, maybe you should put on, you ain't got to put a tie, but maybe a collared shirt, open with a jacket. That'd be cool. Jeans are even fine. Hell, at this point, I'd put up with a T-shirt with a jacket over it and jeans. That would have been,
okay with that.
I would have been okay with that.
Yeah,
but shorts, sandals, and a Carhartt sweater, that definitely should have been our first.
You might also do what Kid Rock did and put on a pair of jorts and, start singing Ball with the Ball.
Hang on, we got to do the show like Kid Rock, so we're going to do it like ball with the. And then he comes out yesterday and says, well, I wasn't lip syncing. It was just a pre-record.
Yeah, we were out of sync. By the way, they lied. The good, wholesome Christians with Turning Point USA said that this was going to be a live halftime show, and we learned they recorded it a couple days earlier. So not only was it not a live performance, but it was pre-recorded and lip-synced. So these good, wholesome Christians at Turning Point USA lied to all the viewers. But
it's almost like they're grifters.
Yeah, it does seem like that, doesn't it? What a joke. And listen, when we get back to the Bad Bunny conversation, I'll be honest, it's not my genre. It's not the music that I enjoy. However, I enjoyed the halftime show. Why? Because it was entertaining. It was entertaining. Yeah. I thought they showed a lot of creativity. I do like Lady Gaga a lot. It was fun.
That was good.
Yeah. Ricky Martin.
She needs to record that. They need to record that version.
That was great. Ricky Martin's obviously of our generation, extremely great.
Is he aging backwards, by the way?
Yeah, he looks
Screw
great.
that guy.
His voice sounds great, right? I mean, he's a great singer. Seeing Mark Anthony out there, and I always have loved Jessica Alba, but seeing these people out there, I thought it was fun.
Feeling represented. What was the message?
All the message was about love, not hate, about love. And MAGA Republicans seem to have a problem with that.
You know, and I'll say the same thing I said on our show yesterday. The only real critique that I had was we couldn't get the captions to say the English. It would only come up with the Spanish. So I felt like maybe the NFL, and if it was on other broadcasts, we tried too, and both of them didn't have it. I felt like maybe they missed an opportunity with putting the captions down there so we knew what he was saying. So, you know, I love the music because we all know those beats. Like as soon as every one of those songs came on, we were like, oh, we know those beats. Even if it's just from TikTok, you know that beat. So I went back and wanted to see, you know, some of what he said. Particularly, there was a part where he was speaking to the camera. Yeah. And it felt like empowering the way he was delivering it. I'm like, I want to know what he said. So I went back and saw it, and it said, he said his full name, you know, Benito, it's four names. And then he says, I'm here performing at the Super Bowl because I never gave up on myself, and you shouldn't give up on yourself either. And I was like, yeah, what's wrong with that? And then you hold a football at the end that says America is all of us.
Yeah, but and I don't know how anybody could say that was a bad message. At the
they tried.
They did try. And at the same time, ball with the ball, the bang, his lyrics about cocaine and prostitution. Oh, yeah, by the way, he was the guy who once sang and gloated and bragged in his lyrics about being with underage girls. But that's a real wholesome Christian performer, isn't it? The real wholesome Christian Kid Rock. I mean, give me a break.
And you know what you should do? I grew up in Detroit. If you ever get to meet this guy, ask him about how he used to get his Corvette, or was it a Corvette? No, it wasn't a Corvette. It was a Camaro. Yeah. And ask him about how they used to slash his tires and break his windshields when he would go to perform in Detroit before he made it big. And then ask him where he grew up. This dude isn't Eminem. He didn't grow up in a freaking trailer park. He grew up on like an estate in Michigan. He came from a wealthy family. Like, he's another Trump. Sell a golden spoon in his mouth that literally failed downwards in life.
I think that's a really good point, because there's a lot of people out there that want to claim that they have the Eminem story. And by the way, Eminem, in my opinion, is a true patriot on the right side of history.
Yes.
And an extremely talented individual. Obviously, I'm not saying anything nobody doesn't know here, but yeah, Eminem literally came from nothing. And you're right. When you look at Kid Rock, he has a similar path that Donald Trump had in some aspects. And I think I know his time is certainly up. It's over. Oh, and that's what the Kevin Sorbos of the world and the Dean Cains of the world and others, they try to cling on to the last ooziness of celebrity, stardom by clinging on to Donald Trump and the far right so that they can keep their career going a little bit longer. And, sure, we'll take the Robert De Niro's, right? We'll take these people, probably some of the Elton Johns of the world, the Bruce Springsteens of the world, right? Beyonce.
Yeah, they're attacking Bruce Springsteen now. Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, good luck with that. Literally, the most talented people on the planet are on the right side of history. And some of these people, I give them a lot of credit, are outspoken, and they are not afraid to speak their mind.
And it's costing them money.
It is.
Like, let's be realistic. A lot of these people, when they do use their platforms, I don't know how much it is. For some, it's probably more, depending on their audience. Yeah. But we definitely need to acknowledge that, these people that, make millions of dollars, that, have other people's jobs that depend on them and their brand, for them to step up and use their voice. It's not for nothing. It's not for free. So,
I'll give you two examples. Of two musicians that I know. One I know extremely well, and one I know casually. A good friend of mine, Richard Patrick. He wouldn't mind me saying this. The lead singer of the band Filter. He was formerly the original guitar player for Nine Inch Nails. Richard's a very good friend of mine. Richard, if you're watching, what's up? I know he watches my show a lot. Richard literally has had some of his shows canceled because of the fact that he's so outspoken, as I am, against Donald Trump. It has hurt him financially, but he's continued to speak his mind. One of my favorite bands since I was in high school is a band called Live. Lead singer is Ed Kowalczyk. He campaigned with Barack Obama. I love what he did. He was in Vegas. They're awesome. So Ed was in Vegas last week. And at his hotel room, he shows a picture of the Trump Tower, and he's flipping it off, which I loved. He puts it on social media, and then one of his fans, allegedly, who's a Trump supporter, says, "How could you do that? I'm not going to buy your music anymore." And he gives him like the best response. He says, "Dude, I'm already a millionaire. I
Yeah.
don't give an F whether you're a fan of my show or not. This is how I feel.
Compounding interest is my friend.
Yeah,
Kick rocks.
I loved it. I became even a bigger live fan, and I'm like, way to go, Ed, because it was the perfect response. I would have said the same thing, even though I'm not a millionaire. I wish I was.
You know, man,
yeah.
it's heartwarming, because there's been so many times in the last, 10 years where we've been so let down and disappointed by some of the people that we, looked up to or admired or enjoyed their music, their movies, whatever it may be. And, to find out who they really are. And so to see all these, on the flip side, all the other people that do think the way we do, that do see the things we're seeing and aren't okay with it. It just makes me feel good. Not just knowing that we're not alone, in the fight, but knowing that there are other people willing to put skin in the game. And like I said, some like the guys you're talking about, those guys have people that depend on them continuing to tour and make music and whatever to pay their bills. So everything that, people like that do, they have to think about it. They've got managers, they've got producers, they've got musicians, they've got whatever. Everybody depends on them. So it's like,
Right.
I need people to understand, like, this isn't free. These people are not coming out here and doing and saying these things because it's the cool thing to do. They're doing it because it's what's necessary.
Yeah, and listen, on a very smaller scale, that's for sure. But if MAGA supporters out there don't like the stuff I say and they don't like my show, then they can go F themselves, because
Yep.
I really don't care. Because every time when I show up to work, I say what I mean. Doesn't mean you're always going to agree with me. Doesn't mean you're going to like all the stuff that I say. And sometimes the left is angry at me too, but I'm always going to be honest with you guys, and I'm always going to speak my mind and be opinionated. And some people aren't going to like it. I had some clown call into my show yesterday who said, "Oh, did you call this woman the B word? Did you call her this and that?" Yeah, I did. And here's why I said those things. And if you don't like it, you can go fly a kite and don't ever listen to my show again, because I don't care. Because luckily I have enough fans and enough people that listen to the show every day, thankfully, that I'm able to make a living and I enjoy what I do. So, that's how I feel. I'm not going to sell myself out to people and lie. I'm going to tell you how I feel. Some people don't like the strong language, but some of those people that have criticized me for my strong language are the same people that support Donald Trump, who's attacked Gold Star families and POWs. He's called people like you suckers and losers. That's far worse than anything I have ever said on or off the air. So,
Yep.
that's how I
again, here's my thing. If Brian and I are wrong, right? Which we're not, but if we were, I would feel okay saying I was always against sexual predators. Like, I didn't care who it came from. And that's the crazy part, is people are getting mad at us for actually caring about children, actually caring about abuse victims, and actually wanting accountability. Let's break it down. That's what they're mad about. And the fact that we can prove everything we say about Donald Trump. That's what they're upset about. So it's like, if that's the wrong side, I'll be on the wrong side all day.
I tend to agree with you, Ryan. Hey, I appreciate you coming on. Before I let you go, could you give out that information? How can people follow your podcast? Give out your social media platforms, because I love what you do, my man.
Thank you, brother. And thank you for bringing me back on as always. I feel weird if I don't come on at least once or every week or two.
Absolutely.
But no, please come check us out, because we are actually doing some serious work now. I have a podcast called With All Due Respect that I co-host with Marcus Flowers, who most of you probably know. He ran against Margie Taylor Greene in Georgia. Well, he now has a couple of PACs that he runs, Hold the Line and Fields of Change. And when we started our podcast, we wanted to bring people on that we wanted to see in the pipeline for the Democratic Party. And so it was a little bit of a slow start, getting people, but now we're booked out until freaking March and April already. We had Amy McGrath on yesterday, who's running for Senate in Kentucky. We had Sean Harris on the week before that, who's running in a special election for Margie Taylor Greene's seat. And the special elections for that open up March 10th, so pay attention to that one. We had Quentin Poland, who's running for State House in Oklahoma. We're just Chris Fowler, who's running in Oklahoma. So we've got tons more people coming on. We got, I believe, Tony Box tomorrow or next week. So Make sure you tune in. Come subscribe to my YouTube, Ryan Shed, or go check us out on Substack so you don't miss anything from the podcast. We got lots of interviews of candidates. And if we want to win these seats, these are the people we need to support.
Amen, brother. Couldn't have said it better myself. Ryan, always a pleasure having you on, my friend. We'll catch up
Thanks,
with
sir.
you. Okay.
We'll talk soon.
All right. Take care. That's Ryan Shed, everybody. Always appreciate it when he takes the time to come on. Check out his stuff on social media. He's one of the best in the business. All right. Here's what we're going to do. We are going to take a quick break. And when we come back, perhaps the best Pam Bondi impersonation I've ever heard. We'll have that for you. Somebody needs to remind Jesse Waters that Puerto Rico is a part of the United States. I'm not sure he knows that, making a fool of himself on Fox News. And all of a sudden now Tom Homan is saying, well, we're withdrawing. We're getting out of Minneapolis. Well, Tim Walz has something to say about that. So we'll hear from him coming up next. So a lot to get to. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
Hey, everybody. Are you
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on Thursday. By the way, I had a very long 3.5-hour debate with a guy by the name of Tom Rentz, who's an attorney and obviously a political commentator and a pretty large following. If you want to check that entire debate unedited, it is on my YouTube page. And the only place, my understanding, is that you can see my 4.5-hour debate with Andrew Wilson, because apparently Andrew Wilson didn't post it, which I found very interesting. That's also on my YouTube page, at PTL Radio Show. Now, I know we just had the Super Bowl. I get it, right? We've talked about the halftime show ad nauseum. But I want you guys to check out my good friends at mybookie.ag. Just for Pushing the Limits fans, if you enjoy betting on sports, they're giving you an up to $500 refund if you lose your first bet. It is an unbelievable opportunity. You use the promo code LIMITS, but here's what you do. Go to my Facebook fan page. We just passed 88,000 subscribers. We're approaching 100,000. If you go to my Facebook page, in most video descriptions, you'll see a link to click on. You click on that link for mybookie.ag, and you will get that special opportunity by using the promo code LIMITS. Please check them out and support our sponsors. Please do that. I want to start the audio clip version of the show today by playing something that I think is extremely funny. And I got to tell you, this comedian does a pretty spot-on version of Pam Bondi. Now, this is an impersonation of Pam Bondi if, in fact, she was a waitress. Have a listen to this.
Greetings.
Hi, what are your specials?
Well, you know, it's funny. Since my time as waitress, I have completed more orders than...
sorry, what are the specials?
Excuse me! I'm going to answer the question when I'm good and ready. Your theatrics are ridiculous. Okay, the market price fish might be up, but the Dow is down. Oh, you can't read the menu because of redactions? How about you apologize for coming in here with a party of 11?
Ma'am, could I get a refill on water?
Did you drink the water I already gave you?
Yeah, but I want...
So you admit that I already gave you water?
Yeah, but
I yield my time.
Ma'am.
Oh, so you want to complain that I gave you pickles when you said you didn't want pickles, but how about you apologize for a complicated order? I have yet to hear an apology from you, or you for that matter. What are the gluten-free options? How about you grow a pair? A turkey burger? This guy's got beef derangement syndrome over here. Give me a break.
Check, please.
You do not tell me what to do. I will get you the check when I want to get you the check.
And could I please get that with Italian dressing?
Italian dressing? In America? Just say you love illegal invaders.
I mean, that is just spectacular. I've got to get this comedian on the show. You know what I want to do? I want to get her on the show with John DiDomenico, who does the amazing Donald Trump impersonation. We got to figure that out. And if the Tom Homan guy is out there, he called into the show. Was it last week? I'm trying to remember what day Tom Homan called in, but our Tom Homan impersonator, we don't know who he is, but he called into the show. This is very funny. Please call back today because you were absolutely great. But that woman, give her kudos. That was a spot-on impersonation of Pam Bondi if she was a waitress. Now, I don't play a lot of Jesse Waters on this show because I think he's just a really stupid, dumb guy and a talentless dweeb who sounds like a chipmunk on Fox News. And I'm sad to say he grew up a few miles down the road where I grew up in Connecticut, and he's just an embarrassment. I don't know why anybody watches this show. I don't think he's funny. I don't think he's entertaining. He says a lot of stupid things. I want you to listen to Jesse Waters attack Latin Americans. Really good way, though, of getting that Latino vote. Have a listen to this.
I like the Super Bowl not to be an international event. I like it when we kind of all come together as Americans, especially when it feels like the NFL is just using it as a marketing ploy to recruit Latin American audience on the heels of Latin America invading this country. 20 million pouring in, and that's what you see. You see all these foreigners speaking a foreign language with foreign flags marching into the camera like a caravan. Too soon. Listen, this was an open borders moment. Everybody knows it. That's what's going on here.
Can somebody please explain to Jesse Waters that Puerto Rico is part of the United States of America? I'm not sure Jesse Waters even understands that. And the fact that they allow this on Fox News, and why do they allow this? Because much of their base of people who watch Fox News are just like Jesse Waters. They're old, crusty white people that are racist, that are bigots, and they can all go to hell. And throw Jesse Waters in there too. Get all these racist bigots that enjoy Jesse Waters and deport them all to Gaza, as far as I'm concerned. One-way ticket. So Tom Homan announced earlier today that they are concluding their quote-unquote operation in Minneapolis. Here's what Tom Homan had to say, and another way of saying we failed, we're getting out of there. Have a listen to this.
With that, and success that has been made arresting public safety threats and other priorities since this surge operation began, as well as the unprecedented levels of coordination we have obtained from state officials and local law enforcement, I have proposed, and President Trump has concurred, that this surge operation conclude. A significant drawdown has already been underway this week and will continue through the next week. We have a lot of work to do across this country to remove public safety risk who shouldn't even be in this country, and to deliver on President Trump's promise for strong border security and mass deportation. Law enforcement officers drawn down from this surge operation will either return to the duty station or be assigned elsewhere to achieve just that.
As soon as you saw Operation Metro Serve ending the serve, does anyone even understand what this vomit is saying? I received $50,000 duffel bag full of money. I don't know where the money went, but they said I didn't do anything wrong, so I really don't want to talk about it anymore. Oh my God, listening to this guy talk, it sounds like there's a hot dog in his mouth. I don't know, extra relish. So here's Tom Homan saying that Operation Metro Surge is ending in the next week.
Again, but prioritization doesn't mean forget about everybody else. That means you have a criminal alien here and non-criminal here. The criminal always comes first because he's the biggest threat to the communities. We're going to continue to force immigration law. Look, we won't get back to the footprint here, the normal footprint here, but there will be some security teams staying here, the QRFs, until we're assured that those agitators incidents either stay low or further decline. I'm not going to remove everybody out of the safety of our officers, but like I said, and Operation Metro Surge is ending. And in the next week, we're going to deploy the officers here on detail back to their home stations or other areas of the country that are needed. But we're going to continue to enforce immigration law. That's what the American people voted for. But it has to be a priority of criminals. And look, I hear all the hate about, you should arrest everybody. Well, we are. But we're prioritizing those who are the biggest threat to our community. The rapists, the murderers, the child molesters. That's the right thing to do. But I'll say it again. President Trump made a promise of mass deportation, and that's what this country's going to get.
Operation Metro Serve, we're withdrawing the $50,000 in a duffel bag that I stole. We're going after the rapists, unless they're in the Epstein files, then we're going to protect them. But I stole $50,000 in a duffel bag. So Tim Walz had a few things to say about this, and we can actually understand what Tim Walz is saying. This is his response to the damage that ICE agents have done to Minneapolis and what they have left behind. Have a listen to what Tim Walz had to say about this.
And we're going to be proposing a reinstitution of our small business emergency fund. It's what we used very successfully during COVID in the recovery and the economic recovery that we saw in Minnesota that outpaced most of the rest of the country. We're going to be proposing a first-time $10 million one-time targeted loans, forgivable loans that we know, and I want to be very clear, is a very small piece of this, but what I am going to challenge as we get ready to start here in a few days, the legislative session, this legislative session needs to be about recovery of the damage done to us. I am also asking our team, I'm going to make appeals to our federal delegation. The federal government needs to pay for what they broke here. There are going to be accountability on the things that happened, but one of the things is the incredible and immense costs that were borne by the people of this state. The federal government needs to be responsible. You don't get to break things and just leave without doing something about it. So we're going to be asking the federal delegation to be investing and doing the things necessary. We have been in contact with federal leadership as a negotiation is happening right now on DHS funding and all of the things that we have an expectation, whether it be the investigations, whether it be going forward, no masks, because this, I got to tell you, one of the things, and I'm in contact with a lot of my colleagues, both at the federal level with the Senate and the House, but especially governors. I don't want these folks showing up somewhere else and doing this. So the changes that need to be made, the investments that need to come back, they need to show, they being the federal government and they being this administration, they need to do more. But I'm not going to hold my breath that the federal government's going to do the right thing. What I am going to do is I'm going to bet on the people of this state. And when we come into this legislative session, an expectation is this should be a bipartisan effort to protect these businesses, to protect what we have in Minnesota, to make changes here to improve this state. That should be very easy. And I think we've seen just some of the data surrounding this. There's very few things in this state that are more unpopular than what just happened to us. And there's few things that are more popular than recovery and supporting small businesses.
Yeah, obviously, I absolutely agree with what Tim Walz is saying there. He's talking about the damage that ICE has done to the community. And it's not like when they just leave, everything is fine and dandy. Yeah, you have 2 people that are dead. You have a woman that was shot. You have a plethora of people and children that are traumatized with what these ICE agents have done here. And here's Tim Walz again going into detail and the generations, he says, of trauma that these ICE agents have left behind.
We are cautiously optimistic, as we've said, and that this surge of untrained, aggressive federal agents are going to leave Minnesota. And I guess they'll go wherever they're going to go. But the fact of the matter is, they left us with deep damage, generational trauma. They left us with economic ruin in some cases. They left us with many unanswered questions. Where are our children? Where and what is the process of the investigation into those that were responsible for the deaths of Renee and Alex? So while the federal government may move on to whatever next thing they want to do, the state of Minnesota and our administration is unwaveringly focused on the recovery of what they did. And there will be many steps in this process, many answers that we still need to get and will pursue. But as we started earlier this week, one of the first things we can do, and what we're focusing on today, is what can we start doing on the economic recovery, the damage that has been done to our economy, specifically to small business owners, and even more specifically to immigrant small business owners, which for every other administration and for most of our history is the epitome of the American dream. Come to this country with nothing and build something to be proud of, build something that creates jobs, build something that creates this incredible diversity and a food scene across this state that is second to none, to entrepreneurship, to the work that they've done. Meeting a few weeks ago down at the Hmong market, and a gentleman who came here and got a food stall, and 3 of his children are now medical doctors that went through American universities to become medical doctors to help make this state the best for healthcare. Those are stories we should be celebrating, not dangerous police chases through peaceful neighborhoods, not little boys in little backpacks being hauled away, and not mourning of parents and family for American and Minnesota citizens being killed on the streets.
So very well said by Governor Tim Walz, who has been taking it on the chin from these right-wingers out there that, excuse me, that have been attacking him ad nauseum. But we've heard a lot from the right that somehow Tim Walz has given in, that somehow he's made concessions to the Trump regime. And I kept telling you guys that that's not true. He hasn't made any concessions. And I had a lot of people on social media on the right that are saying, you don't know what you're talking about. Well, here's what Tim Walz said to that, re-emphasizing what I've said all along, that no, Tim Walz did not make any concessions to the Trump regime. Listen to this.
Nothing has changed. The final agreement is that Minnesota would continue to do what we do, which is law enforcement, honor, those things, and that we would do what has always been expected and has done for decades here, is if there's someone who is in a Minnesota prison and there is an ICE asking us to hold them, once their sentence is served, we notify ICE and turn them over. And that is in every single case. You've done the investigative work. That's what's happened. So nothing has been changed. They continued to ask me. One of their demands is that I ask people to be peaceful in their protesting. That's an easy thing for me to do because that's what I said. But I'm not going to ask them to not be on the streets. I'm not going to ask them to give up their constitutional, their First Amendment rights, their Second Amendment rights, their Fourth Amendment rights, and for the state, the 10th Amendment rights. So what I've been telling you is this is exactly what we've been doing. And when I went to Congress 2 months ago and testified for 8 hours, as they incorrectly said Minnesota is not adhering to this, I testified for 8 hours. Nothing came out of that, and yet they came here. So I think to tell people, we're just going to follow the law. And when it comes to this, no one's disagreeing that you shouldn't have immigration enforcement. But it should be with due process, and everybody gets that. And it certainly should be done humanely. And you certainly, if you're truly going to focus on the worst of the worst, why are you going after our neighbors who are in the system, following the law, trying to reach naturalization? That doesn't make any sense. So Minnesota's doing what we did, but I'll tell you what, it steeled our resolve of how much we're going to protect our immigrant community. It steeled our resolve that we will do what we should do, they should do their job, and it's become very apparent to the people of America that this is not the way to do it. This is not the way to go about it. This doesn't make us any safer.
So well said by Governor Tim Walz. I don't think anybody could have said it any better than that. It's not that Democrats don't want illegal immigration enforcement. They do. But as Tim Walz just said, they want it to be done in a humane manner. They want you to treat them as human beings with due process. They don't want you executing people in the streets, taking away their First Amendment right, their Second Amendment rights, their Fourth Amendment rights, their 10th Amendment rights. They want it to be done the right way. And you hear from the right constantly, they want open borders. They want everybody here illegal. They don't want anybody to pay any price. That is not factually accurate. They just don't want what the Trump administration has done in treating these people like animals, shooting people, killing people, attacking people because of their accents or because of the color of their skin. Everything Tim Walz said there is 150% correct. But MAGA will say that Tim Walz doesn't want rule of law. Tim Walz doesn't want immigration enforcement. It's just a blatant lie. It's just not true. Speaking of not true, let's get into Mike Johnson a little bit here. So, obviously that Pam Bondi hearing yesterday, if there's anybody that thinks that Pam Bondi did a good job, they're obviously a Trump mushroom gobbler. I mean, she had note cards waiting to attack Democrats with insults instead of answering questions in the Epstein files when you had dozens of victims that were sitting behind her. Anybody that says she did a good job is obviously a despicable human being as far as I'm concerned. But here's Mike Johnson, and here's what he had to say about the Pam Bondi hearing yesterday.
Obviously, Pam Bondi said it well. They turned it into a circus. These are unserious people, and they demonstrate that with their antics in the committee hearings now, which have really turned into theatrics, as she said, and with their votes. And that's what we got tonight, Sean. House Republicans have been working so hard to ensure the integrity of American elections. We had a big win tonight because we passed the Save America Act, and only one Democrat out of all of them joined us in that very common sense piece of legislation. Sean, all it does is it ensures that if you're going to register to vote, you have to have proof of citizenship, and when you show up to vote, you have to show a photo ID. These are 90% issues in public polling, and 70% of Democrats agree that it should be the law. Only one House Democrat voted for it tonight.
Yeah, Mike, I'm sure you're very, very happy about that. So you just said that in the Pam Bondi hearing, the Democrats turned it into a circus. Last I checked, the Democrats were just asking you questions, or they were trying to ask Pam Bondi questions. Pam Bondi had a bunch of note cards set up for ad hominem attacks on Democrats that were asking her about accountability and justice for the victims. Democrats didn't turn into it a circus. Pam Bondi turned it into a circus. And any reasonable human being that isn't a fake Christian piece of human scum like Mike Johnson would be able to see that in what they saw. I spoke to multiple Republicans yesterday, and they all told me the same thing. Now, whether they'll say it publicly, I don't know, but they were dismayed and they were upset with Pam Bondi's lack of performance, for whatever you would like to call it, yesterday. But it was theatrics and it was despicable, and that wasn't because of any Democrat. I can tell you that right now. Now, I want you to listen to how disillusioned, I don't know what drugs Mike Johnson's on. Maybe the fake Christian MAGA mushroom gobbling pill. I don't know. But here's Mike Johnson saying that the Republicans are going to make history in the midterms. Have a listen to this.
They really do, and that's one of the reasons we're so confident about this midterm election coming up. We are going to make history. We're going to grow the majority for the Republican Party because we have an extraordinary record to run on, and they have an outrageous record that they have produced with their votes. And we're going to continue to put them on record, Sean, and make sure that people know exactly what they stand for. This is an insurgent left party. This is not your father's Democrat Party anymore. They're not serious people. They have an absolute Marxist, far-left, socialist ideology, and that is what you will get if you elect Democrats to Congress. You've just seen it on display tonight. So this is an important election for all the reasons we know, all the marbles. And I believe Republicans are going to overperform in this election, and we're going to keep the majority and keep the Trump agenda, the America First agenda, going for 4 full years.
Yeah, please keep that soundbite because I don't think that's going to happen. By the way, why would you vote for a Republican right now? What do you guys have to run on? You guys want to talk about immigration and look at all the people that Trump has deported. How's that working out for you as far as how you guys are doing that? Most of America in every poll, even Fox News polls, are saying they don't like the way you're going about this when it comes to ICE. So you can't run on that. Are you going to run on the economy? How's the economy? Most people say we're headed towards a recession. Private sector job growth is abysmal. It's terrible. Everything in the supermarket is up compared to 1 year ago, except for eggs. Everything else is through the roof, including meat. You're going to run on gas being 22 cents cheaper today than it was a year ago? I don't think too many Americans are going to be happy about that when they're paying for everything else, higher prices. And what about the American consumer paying the brunt of what these tariffs are doing? Ask the farmers how they're doing and private sector jobs and small business how they're doing. Or how about the 20 million Americans that are now off of Medicaid because of the big and beautiful bill? So you can't run on health care, or the millions of Americans that are off of food stamps now. Can't run on that, or the $100 billion in tax cuts to the richest 1%. I mean, I guess if you're one of those tech billionaires, you'll probably vote for Republicans in the midterms. I certainly wouldn't doubt that. But Mike Johnson is delusional. I don't know what drugs he's on. He's delusional. And he's a liar, and he's a fake Christian, and he's one of the biggest Trump mushroom gobblers around. And when he is no longer the House Speaker, it'll be a great day for the country. Let me tell you that. Now, I've talked about Scott Jennings quite a bit. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again, and that's one guy that I would love to be able to have a conversation with on TV. I'm working on it. But I believe Scott Jennings is one of the most dishonest and one of the biggest douchebags on the right that does political commentary. He's dishonest. He's two-faced. He's a phony. And I don't even believe he believes some of the stuff he says on CNN every night. And it's incredible to me that CNN pays this guy. But on a daily basis, CNN pays Scott Jennings to insult Abby Phillip every single night. And this is just another example of Scott Jennings on CNN embarrassing himself and basically calling any American stupid if they are having some difficulties finding their birth certificate or proving who they are so that they can vote. Somehow they're all stupid. Listen to this exchange because I think it is so to the core of who so many of these middle-aged, crusty, white MAGA Republicans are. They're racist, they're bigoted, and they attack people that do not look like them. Watch this.
Before it's not. It actually, there's an argument to be made that red state voters, women, poor white voters could be just as.
I know, you think they're dumb too, don't you?
Yeah,
I mean, that's the thing.
Nobody
I hear these arguments. I've heard Democrats all week long.
No, please don't. No, you listen.
There's a deflection from talking about Donald Trump's racism.
I'm actually
right there.
You should be thinking about your constituents or your.
I think they're smart enough to figure out how to register to vote. Abby.
Hold on. Most Americans don't have a passport. Many Americans don't have access to their birth certificate. Many women, a majority of women who change their names for marriage have to provide additional proof that they've changed their names in order to register to vote.
I have heard Democrats
Scott, why don't you actually respond to the substance of what I'm saying?
I am, and
as
the substance
opposed
is
to making this about something that it's not.
You're saying,
it's not just about voter
married
ID.
women,
It's also about
black
who has
voters,
access
and rural people are too stupid to figure out how to register to vote.
That is not what
Democrats have been making this argument all week.
That's not what she said.
Are you saying they can't figure out how to vote?
Let me offer.
Are you saying they can't figure out how to vote?
Exact same argument.
It is a fact that a majority of Americans do not have passports. Many Americans, including white people, do not have their original birth certificate or access to it.
You didn't say what you said. Rural.
I would love to offer the proof on this.
Yeah, because that is also relevant. It doesn't matter to me where people live.
I guess I have a little more faith in
do they have
rural
access?
America and married women than you.
Look, I don't know why you think
What
why
is
you're
going
making
on
this
here?
about whether you're smart or not.
You're saying that they can't vote, that they can't figure out how to document to register to vote?
Access to documentation of proof of where you were born or proof of citizenship is an additional thing that people
because
will
at
have
one
to
point,
do.
black people actually weren't even allowed.
It's a barrier.
It is a barrier.
This is
Do you have your
exactly.
original birth certificate?
Yes.
Okay.
But at one point, black
does
people were not
everybody
even
that
allowed
you know
birth
have their original
certificates
birth
in this country.
certificate?
Everybody that I know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
But I know where mine is, and I know where my kids
elderly,
are.
There are elderly people in this country who are 80 years old, and they haven't seen their original birth certificate in decades. They would need to provide
this is
proof of
fear-mongering.
citizenship.
It is not fear-mongering at all. It's not fear-mongering at all.
That's just a reality.
It's not fear-mongering at all.
Listen,
I don't understand why CNN pays this guy. I understand you want the other side. I understand you want opinions from a Republican. There's plenty of Republicans out there you could find that would certainly not speak like Scott Jennings speaks. Let me be very clear on this. What you're hearing from Scott Jennings there is, number one, him going after an African-American woman and Abby Phillips. That's clear. He does it every night. Very condescending. And somebody needs to put Scott Jennings in his place. That's number one. Number two, Scott Jennings is calling anybody stupid out there who considers it to be another barrier to try to find your birth certificate. I don't know where my birth certificate is, and I'm 45 years old. Most people that I know do not know where their birth certificate is, and it's an extra barrier that you have to come up with, and sometimes it could take weeks, even months, to get that birth certificate so that you can vote. Now, you could say to yourself, well, you should have taken care of this earlier. Okay, there's a lot of people come November that don't have their birth certificate, and they need it to vote. It is a barrier. That's all Abby Phillips is trying to say, and Scott Jennings is calling all of these people stupid. Let me tell you something. The person that is disingenuous, the person that is a bigot, the person that is two-faced and phony and is trying to get Caroline Levitt's job is Scott Jennings. Scott Jennings is an embarrassment to this country, but he is your typical Donald Trump supporter. Knows that Donald Trump is a piece of human scum, doesn't care. Knows that Donald Trump probably might have done some criminal things to children, doesn't care. Because he goes on CNN and he spews the propaganda and the right-wing talking points, misconstrues what's really happening in this country to defend the indefensible. Because Scott Jennings is a cuck. That's why. CNN is paying a cuck. Scott Jennings should not be on any network. Well, I take that back. He'd probably do a great job on OAN or Newsmax. All right, I want to open up the phone lines right now, 702-221-7283. And again, that number, if you would like to be a part of the conversation, that number is 702-221-SAVE. Here is what I am asking from the callers today, and we hope that everybody can remain on topic. Fallout from the Pam Bondi testimony yesterday. We're still talking about that. What do you think about John Fetterman saying that he feels bad for Kristi Noem because of the mean things people are saying about her? Cosplay Kristi. He's upset. What do you make of that? Jesse Waters not even knowing that Puerto Rico is actually a part of the United States. And from Homan Tom Homan saying that he's withdrawing ICE from Minneapolis. Tim Walz response to that. So that and much more. So there's obviously a lot of topics that we're discussing today. So again, opening up the phone lines at 702-221-7283. Want to get your thoughts and your opinions, Trump supporter or not? 702-221-SAVE. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this with your phone calls. You're listening to Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP. All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Thursday. Thank you so much for joining us. You know, it is stressful. I'm not going to lie to you guys. It is stressful to talk about these serious topics on a regular basis, but I also think it's extremely important to have the difficult conversations. And that's why now every week I'm going to be doing studio, not in this studio, but in my home, my mini studio, debates with people every week. Yesterday I had Tom Rentz on, who is a staunch Trump supporter who he thinks January 6th was a setup. I certainly debated him on that. He thinks the 2020 election was stolen. Not much of a debate, but I did question him on that. And that debate is up on my YouTube page, which is at PTL Radio Show. As I mentioned, we just surpassed 88,000 subs on the Facebook Pushing the Limits fan page. If you haven't already done so, please do that. And check out my website, which is pushingthelimits.live, where we accept $5, $10, $15, $20 donations, whatever you can afford. We greatly appreciate it. And you are supporting independent media, and I certainly think we need more of that. Less Laura Loomers, okay? Hopefully you would agree with me. We need less Laura Loomers and more Brian Shapiro's. All right, so number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation is 702-221-SAVE, 702-221-7283. We're talking about a number of different topics. Of course, your reaction to Tom Homan withdrawing the troops, for lack of a better term, ICE agents, from Minneapolis. Tim Walz's response to that. And what do you think of John Fetterman, who I think is an absolute embarrassment,
now upset because they're calling Kristi Noem the Ice Barbie. I mean, give me a break. All the important things that we could be talking about, and that's the criticism that John Fetterman brings to Washington, D.C. today. I just find it utterly pathetic. All right, 702-221-7283. We'll get that number on the bottom of the screen. Again, it's 702-221-SAVE. Let's start off with Ken. Ken is first up on PTL. What's up, Ken?
Oh, my God. Are you there?
I am here. What's going on, man?
Yeah. I do like Fetterman. I totally disagree with his opinion of Noam. But I do like Fetterman.
All right. Can I ask you a few questions?
Look. No. Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Ask me a question.
So let me just start with my criticisms, and you could tell me whether we'll go one at a time, and you tell me whether you agree or not. Do you think it's proper for a congressman or congresswoman representing their constituents by wearing warm-up pants, sweatshirts into the halls of Congress and even during hearings? Do you think that's appropriate? Is that unprofessional?
Well, I think I'm older than Fetterman, and I grew up in the 60s.
Okay.
So, yeah, I do. Yeah, I think that's, yeah, I do.
All right. So we agree on that.
Trump, okay. Look what Trump did to Zelensky for not wearing a suit.
Listen, you know my criticisms on Trump, but I understand, but let's focus on Fetterman for a moment. What do you think of ICE agents murdering citizens in the streets, which I know you don't agree with, and Fetterman having the opportunity in the House chambers today to talk about that? Instead, he decided to share grievances on mean things people are saying about Kristi Noem, calling her Ice Barbie. What do you think about that? Him taking the opportunity to do that.
I think that's despicable, actually.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
But if you look at the other side, look what the alternative.
I'm not defending. I understand.
I'm not. Give me a break.
Listen, Ken, I agree with you. I'm not saying I would rather have Dr. Oz in there, but I want to know what happened to John Fetterman. Now, I understand he had a stroke, and we had Ryan Shedd on.
I had 3 strokes. That's
right.
why that's why I called.
I understand.
I've had 3 strokes.
And I'm sorry to hear that, sir. I'm glad you're recovering, but at the same time, do you think that it's affected his brain in a sense that he's changed his views?
Of course it has.
Okay,
it's affected my brain.
Okay, I'm sorry to hear. So
not
why?
His intellect, but his
right.
personality.
I understand. So. Listen, I believe that, Ken. So don't you think that somebody should get him the hell out of there? I don't think he's fit for office.
Not necessarily. It depends on what the alternative is. I don't think he's doing that much damage. To be honest with you, what he said in the last couple of days is despicable. Yes.
Why is it that he fails to criticize the Israeli government in any way, shape, or form? He coddles to Benjamin Netanyahu. He fails to criticize the Israeli government for anything.
Well, yeah, I can't answer that. But I think that's despicable too.
I think he's wrong. I think he's wrong on so many issues, and I think he's embarrassing the Democrat Party as far as I'm concerned. I really do.
He's still better than the other options.
I understand I understand. I'm not a Dr. Oz fan, and I've spoken to Dr. Oz, and I've gotten into it with him in Las Vegas. I don't like Dr. Oz. I agree with you. As bad as I think Fetterman is, I still would rather take him over Dr. Oz. But I don't think we should be defending John Fetterman. I think he's an embarrassment to the Democrats. And I think next go around, I think he should be voted out of office. I really feel that way. I think he's an embarrassment.
Well, he probably will be out of necessity. I agree.
What do you like about him? What do you like about John Fetterman these days? I'm not talking about the John Fetterman of a year ago. I'm talking about right now.
I'm talking about the John Fetterman of a couple of years ago.
Okay, fair enough.
He was a great guy.
You know what? I said a lot of very nice things about him a couple of years ago. I'm not doing that anymore. What do you like about John Fetterman right now, Ken? Doesn't sound like you can think of anything.
I'll say he's better than the alternative.
Okay,
regardless, I do know he is definitely messed up, and he needs to get out of there. But I like the guy over Oz.
I understand, but Fetterman needs to start to dress appropriately. He needs to stop playing footsie with MAGA. And I don't want to hear the excuse of, well, I'm just trying to work with the other side. No, you're not. He needs to stop coddling to Donald Trump and his cronies. And he needs to stop feeling bad for people like Kristi Noem. You know who he should feel bad for? The family of Alex Preddy. The family of
absolutely.
the family of Miscud. I know, but he's not doing that. He's not speaking up about it.
Absolutely.
He's not speaking
that
up.
goes without saying.
Right. And
that was murder. And they're getting away with it.
If you only have,
pathetic to me.
we agree, Ken, but if you only have 5 minutes for your public remarks or statement or questions, and you decide to take half of that time to feel sorry for Kristi Noem, who, by the way, is getting paid a lot of money, who is completely incompetent because of some people calling her some names, then you don't deserve to be representing anybody in office. That's my personal opinion. I certainly appreciate your call, Ken. I appreciate your call, Ken. I got to move on to some other calls, and I'm glad you're feeling better, and I'm sorry about those strokes that you had, and we hope you make a full recovery. 702-221-SAVE, 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Nelson. Nelson is next on PTL. What's up, Nelson?
Hey, what's up? Are you happy to see me again? Is everybody in the comment section happy to see me again?
I don't know who you are, Nelson, but go ahead. What did you want to talk about today?
No, I talked to you the last 3 or 4 times. Remember, Nelson? Don't you only have one Nelson, right? You don't have like 2 or 3.
Nelson, I get a lot of calls every day. I'm sure you're probably.
I apologize. My
yeah,
bad.
that's okay.
Well,
so
the people in the comment section, I believe, know.
Okay, so Nelson. Nelson. I don't want to waste airtime. Talking about.
No, I'm gonna tell you my disagreement.
Please.
Yeah. Do you think ICE is an evil organization?
I think there are some people. I think there are some people in ICE that are certainly that way. I think there are certainly some people in ICE that are very bad people that are there for the wrong reasons. Like, for example, the video that just came out earlier today. CNN did a great job in breaking down the video. They all lied. Multiple agents lied. They shot a woman 5 times, almost killed her. They lied on the police report. They lied about everything. And that's why the prosecutors even said we're going to drop charges. The judge agreed. So, yes, those people are evil. I would never take an entire organization and say they're all evil. I've never said that on this show. But there certainly are some people that are evil. I think Jonathan Ross is evil. I think the officers who shot Alex Preddy are evil. I believe Kristi Noem is evil. I think Stephen Miller is evil. I think Bavano is evil. I think Tom Homan is evil. So did I answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, I do agree, that there are some bad apples, but I don't think some of those bad apples make the whole organization.
Where have I ever said that everybody in ICE is evil? Have I ever said that, Nelson?
I never said you said that.
Okay, so what's your point then?
Wait. Well, in one of your debates, I think it was with an attorney last night, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
With one of your, and I think you know what I'm talking about. You said all of ICE is corrupt.
I never have I ever said that I believe the entire organization is corrupt. What I do believe is that
generality.
Okay. Well, I thought I've answered your question, but I guess I'll try to answer it again for you. I don't believe everybody in ICE is out to murder people. I don't believe everybody in ICE is out to harm people, but I do believe there's a lot of people, and I was specifically referring to the people who are getting 47 days of training. The people who are getting 47 days of training that don't have proper training, I think a lot of these people are in it for the wrong reasons. It could be money, it's because they enjoy attacking brown people. I think those specific people, many of them, I wouldn't even use the term corrupt. I'd use the term evil, ill-informed, uneducated bigots. And I stand by what I've said about that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely agree with you there. And
so where do you disagree with me? What do you?
A lot of leftists, a lot of people on your side,
What's my side?
Say that all of ICE is
what's my
evil,
side? What's my side?
Instances of police brutality.
No,
I'm sorry?
Nelson, what's my side? What do you mean?
Your side, left-leaning Democrat.
Okay, I've never been a registered Democrat my entire life. And by the way, when I was debating your hero, who I think is a turd, Andrew Wilson, and he said, name me something on the right that you support, which I did. I named him capital punishment. I am for capital punishment. And then he moves the goalpost. And then he says, name me a social issue that you agree with the right on. And I did. I talked about transgender women
playing with women in women's sports. And you see, I owned him on that. And I've been a registered independent my own life. I did not vote for Barack Obama. I did not vote for Hillary Clinton, which was, by the way, a mistake. And I own that. I made a mistake there. And I voted for eight. I voted for, yeah, but I'm trying to give you some context that when people like you, Nelson, make assumptions about me because I am very anti-Donald Trump and I absolutely lean to the left on social issues. And there's nothing wrong with being a liberal. There's nothing wrong with being a Democrat. But I don't like it when people characterize people when it's not true. You did it. Andrew Wilson did it. And
no, I didn't do it.
You just said your people.
Yeah, well,
what are my people?
People on the left.
I'm not on the left. What are you talking about? I just,
bro, chill out. Bro.
Okay.
Chill the fuck out.
Whoa. Okay, so first of all, you're not going to swear on this show, and if you swear on this show again, you are never allowed to call back. Number two, stop talking. You don't tell me to chill out. I'll do whatever the hell I want to do because this is my show and not yours. And quite frankly, sir, the fact that you are an Andrew Wilson fan tells me everything I need to know about you. You're a dummy. You're not very intelligent. Yes.
So?
Yes, you're a dummy. You're not very informed. You're not very informed. Okay. What's he right? We had a conversation the other day, which I am now recalling. Stop talking. Don't talk over me or this conversation's over. I'll do whatever the hell I want to do because it's my show and it's not yours. Now, we had this conversation that I'm now recalling the other day where you said Andrew Wilson is right about a lot of things and you embarrassed yourself just because.
No, I didn't.
Excuse me. I'm going to explain why you are. Now, you're probably not smart enough to understand, but I'll still try to explain it to you, sir. Okay. When you call into the show and you say Andrew Wilson is right about abortion, there is no right or wrong on your opinions about abortion. 60% of the country believe in a woman's right to choose. About 40% are against abortion. That's a personal belief. It's like saying your religion is right and my religion is wrong. Well, if you're an atheist, you're wrong and I'm right because I believe in God. There is no right or wrong there. What I think is wrong is telling other people what to do with their bodies. Now, you mentioned that. So now let's go back in time again because you failed the first time. Tell me something yes, you did. You're just not smart enough to understand. I just explained it to you. What is Andrew Wilson? Okay. Well, then tell me then. Help explain to me. What am I wrong about, sir?
No, I just want to stick to the previous.
No. We're going to do, no. We're going to talk about what I want to talk about. If you don't like it, you can hang up the phone. Really, I don't care. What am I wrong about?
No, we could do
I'm not smart. If I'm not smart, debate me. What am I wrong about? Give me one topic and we'll debate it right now, live on the show. Prove to me how smart you are and how stupid I am. Go ahead. I'll even let you pick the topic. Go ahead.
You're the one who called me not.
Well, I don't think you are. But I'll give you a chance to prove me wrong right now.
What topic you want to?
I just told you pick one. You pick one.
I don't care. We can stick to abortion again. I mean, we spoke about that last time, dude.
I just told you. I just told you that whether you are for or against abortion, it is an opinion. The people who are anti-abortion think that it's murder. There are brilliant people that perform pregnancies every single day that are doctors, some of whom that I've had conversations with that disagree with you, and they don't believe that life begins at conception. So that is a matter of opinion. There is no right or wrong. What I've said is wrong is you telling other people what to do with their bodies. So we've already talked about the abortion topic. Give me a topic other than abortion, which we've already ad nauseum talked about, that you think I'm wrong and you're right, that would prove that I'm a dummy. I'm giving you the opportunity to prove me wrong. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, fair enough. You know the doctors or the surgeons who perform abortion?
I just told you we were moving on from abortion. I just told you that is a matter of opinion. If I like steak, sir, there are many people in this country that are far more educated and intelligent than you, some of whom that are even in the medical business as doctors and nurses, that disagree with you on abortion, that do not believe life begins at conception. Now, that is an opinion, and that is not proof nor one way or the other that somebody is stupid and somebody is smart. I want you to talk to me about an actual policy And by the way, if we're talking about policy, in over half the states of this country, it's still legal to get an abortion, and it's not considered murder. So give me another topic that would lead you to believe that I'm stupid, okay, and you're smart. Go ahead.
Well, I actually wanted to stick on this topic, but not everything is an opinion. Not everything is subjective. If you have certain people that say the earth is flat, as opposed to certain people
so
that
we're
say
not
the earth is
talking
round,
about we're not
the earth
having
is subjective.
we're not talking about we're not talking about the earth is flat or round. The earth is round.
No, I'm just
okay.
making a comparison.
No, there is no comparison between the earth being flat and round and abortion. Okay,
Well, you
the
think
earth
well,
it has
you
been
think that
proven.
certain things are an opinion.
Okay,
I'm telling you they're facts.
okay, so
not everything's an opinion.
okay, so to be okay with abortion and to say that you want to give a woman the right to choose, especially with an example of rape or incest, is an opinion. There is no fact that you could say, well, you're wrong on that opinion. So now we're moving on. I've asked you now 8 times to move on to another topic because we're not talking about abortion. So Andrew Wilson thinks that those 2 shootings were justified. Do you think those 2 shootings are justified, the ICE shootings in Minneapolis?
I actually explained this to you before, I think in the first or second video, and I said, no, I thought they were both murders.
So give me something else that would lead you to believe that I am stupid and you are the smart one. Please go, sir.
I don't know. It depends. What
You
topic
don't know.
want to talk about, bro?
Okay, I've already now told
What
you.
topic you want to talk about, bro?
I've already now. First of all, you're not my bro, so stop talking like an
No,
idiot.
man, I'm
okay?
trying to be friends with you, bro. You're
Okay.
trying to be my homie.
Sir,
I'm trying to be your
sir,
homie, bro.
sir,
I'm trying to be
sir.
friends, bro. Come on, bro.
Let me be. You're not my bro, and let me be very clear. I appreciate
Bro,
you.
man, I'm
I
cool with
appreciate
you.
you.
You cool
Stop.
with me, bro. Come on,
Stop.
be real, bro.
Stop interrupting me and let me finish.
All right, no, go ahead.
Anybody who is a fan of Andrew Wilson will never be a bro or a friend. I'm trying to answer. Anybody who is a friend of Andrew Wilson or is a big fan of his show will never be a friend of mine or somebody that I will ever have a drink with or somebody that I have anything in common with. You know why? Because I think like you
have nasty
because I
takes
think
against
no. I have plenty of friends of mine that are Republicans. So you're 100% wrong on that.
Andrew's a Republican. So why
Okay.
do you hate him?
It doesn't have anything to do with him being a Republican. It has everything to do with him
Yeah, it
being.
does.
No, it doesn't. Are you stupid, sir? Did you hear what
Yo,
I just
he has
said?
Republican views,
Sir,
bro. He has
did you hear
Republican
what I
views.
just
What are you
did you
talking
hear
about?
did you hear what I just said? I'm going to say it for you again. Get the Andrew Wilson MAGA wax out of your ears and pay attention if you're
Yeah,
capable.
bro, but be
Okay,
precise, dude.
stop
Be
calling me
precise.
bro.
Come on,
Stop calling me bro. We're not bros. Shut up and listen. The reason why I don't like Andrew Wilson or some MAGA Republicans is because they fail to criticize Donald Trump for anything. The reason why I don't like Andrew Wilson is because he defends what the Trump administration is doing, which is literally protecting pedophiles. He hasn't criticized the administration for not interviewing any of the victims, not interviewing any of the people that are listed in the Epstein files that have, in my opinion, based on what I've read, committed some serious crimes. So not only does he defend Pam Bondi, does he defend Kristi Noem, he defends what you think is indefensible, which are the 2 ICE murders that took place in Minneapolis. And he is not a serious person, and he is two-faced because he called every single woman that has ever accused Donald Trump of abuse lying B-words. That is a despicable human being. He is also on record as saying that he never wants to be a friend of a woman. He is a misogynist pig. He is a chain-smoking, alcoholic piece of human garbage. And I stand by what I've said about him. I stand by what he said about his wife. So anybody in my orbit will not be a fan of Andrew Wilson. We will never be bros. Do you understand that, sir?
Why
So
not?
now,
Why can't I
okay,
be your bro, man?
because I
Why
think
not? That ain't cool, bro.
because I think you're
Why
an
not?
imbecile, that you're not smart enough to be my
Why do you
friend.
think I'm an imbecile?
You're not
You accuse me
you're
of
not
being
smart
MAGA.
enough.
You accuse me of
You're
being
not
MAGA,
smart
bro.
enough
I'm
to
not MAGA, bro.
Okay, I'm going to give you one more chance. Okay. So I'm going to give you one more chance. Stop talking. I'm going to give you one more chance, sir. Because quite frankly, you are insufferable. You just said that I'm stupid and you're the smart one. Other than abortion, which is a topic of a matter of opinion, not fact or fiction, I'm now asking you for the 8th time, come up with a topic that I will debate you on right now. I'm being nice because I'm letting you come up with the topic and prove to me that you're the smart one and I'm the stupid one, bro. So I'm now asking you for the last time. It's 8 times I've asked you. Don't bro me. Come up with a topic that we can debate right now that you disagree with me on, that you think makes me look stupid and you're the smart one. Please go ahead, sir, for the last time. Go ahead.
All right, you ready?
I've been ready for the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, man. Hey, man, and we've been talking about topics for the last 15 minutes, man. But yeah, why don't we talk about feminism?
Well, that's very on topic. Okay, what would you like to talk about when it comes to feminism?
What do you mean odd topic?
What would you like to talk about? What would you like to talk about? What do you disagree with me on my opinions on feminism, which you probably don't even know, but
well,
go ahead.
I disagree with certain opportunities, certain instances of equal opportunities, like in the workplace, for example.
And in what specific job are you referring to?
Sure, like combat roles, like going out to the
And what's my opinion?
battlefield,
And what's my opinion? And what's my opinion on? And what's my opinion? Okay, what's my opinion on feminism when it comes to being in combat? Do you have any idea what you're talking about or what my opinions are?
I don't. That's
You
why I would
don't.
like to
Okay,
know.
so you're ignorant to any of my opinions, but you just brought up a random topic. Okay, I'll give it to you. So
Yeah,
as I've said,
okay,
right, but you don't know what my opinions are on it. I said, come up with a topic that would lead you to believe that I'm stupid and you're smart. Okay, all right, fine. I'll answer your stupid question. So if you could just shut up, if you could, sir, you got to stop talking and I'll answer your stupid question. When it comes to physical jobs, whether you're in combat or in sports or you're lifting heavy equipment, I think everybody should have to pass a similar physical test that would include both men and women. And if a woman could pass the same test and the standards that a man can, then I'm all for them working in that industry. If they can't, then they're not allowed to work in that industry the same way I would say about a man who might be timid or might not be strong enough. There are certain standards. Whether you're a woman or a man, you have to pass those standards. And if they could pass those basic standards, I don't care what's between their legs. Now, what part of that opinion do you think is wrong or would make me sound stupid, sir?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some validity to what you say to a degree.
Some.
But the thing is that women's bodies are not biologically suited for those kind of roles.
Sir,
So,
if they can pass the basic standards, the basic physical standards, then what does it matter what is between their legs if they pass the standards that are necessary for the job? Why don't you answer my question?
But the basic standard tests are different between men and women, though.
No, that is not true, sir. There are certain standards in certain jobs, whether it be on the combat field, where they have to pass the same physical standards that a man has to pass. You have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. Oh, really? So tell me how the standards are different. Tell me the testing. Tell me how it's different. So you're telling me that there are different physical standards that you have to pass with being in combat from being a man and a woman. Okay. So tell me. What is it?
When it comes to pull-ups and push-ups, for example.
Yeah. What are the standards? No. What are the standards? What are the standards put forth? Sir, I need you to answer my question. Sir, I need you to answer. When it comes, pot him down, shut up and listen. I'm going to prove that you're the dumbass. Okay. I'm going to prove that right now. How many pull-ups does somebody have to do in order to pass the standards of being in the military? Do you know? How many pull-ups? Answer the question. Answer the question. Answer.
Let's assume I don't know.
I'm asking you a question. I'm not assuming anything. Answer my question. How many pull-ups does a man and a woman have to do or perform to be serving in the military? Do you know?
Let's say I don't know. I don't know.
No. We're not going to let's say you don't know. I'm asking you right now, do you know or do you not know? Answer the question.
Yeah, well, for men or for women?
Both.
Go ahead.
No. Don't say go ahead. I'm asking you. Tell me if you don't know the answer. Just say it. Don't say go ahead. I'm not assuming anything. I'm asking you a question. You know why, sir? Because you made the claim.
Why?
Because you made the case that women don't have to do as many pull-ups as men to be in the military. I said, okay, let's go by that. And let me ask you, how many pull-ups does a man and or a woman have to do to be in the military? Answer the question. I know you're trying to Google it right now. You're not having a very good time of it, are you? Answer the question.
No, I'm not trying to Google nothing, man.
Okay, so answer. So answer the question.
I honestly don't recall.
Okay, so if you don't, all right, no, it's not from 10 to 20. It's not from 10 to 20. Now, I see the problem is you don't know and you just won't admit it. You guessed it was from 10 to 20. So you made hold on. Stop talking now. Okay, right. That's my point. Thank you for finally saying that.
Hey,
You
at
don't
least
know.
I'm honest.
Okay.
At least I'm
No,
fucking
no,
honest.
you're not. You're not honest. And here's why.
At least
Be
I'm honest.
quiet. Pot him down again. Be quiet. You just made the case that a woman has a lower standard when it comes to pull-ups than a man to serve in the military. There is no standard, sir, of pull-ups in the military. There are physical performance things that need to be done. Now, I knew that from the get-go, and you're just digging yourself your own grave. You made the case without even knowing what the physical standards are to be serving in the military. The same standards a woman has to go through that a man has to go through, but you're too stupid to know that. You said that I'm the dumb one. I gave you the opportunity to come up with the topic, which you did, and you made an assumption that was wrong, that women have to have a lower standard, in this case, when it comes to pull-ups than a man. And you don't even know what you're talking about. So as I pod you back up, will you admit that when it comes to this specific topic, you're the dumb one? I gave you the opportunity to come up with the topic. Then you made the assumption that women have to do a certain number of pull-ups lower than a man when you don't even know what you're talking about. No, it's not 10 to 20.
Well, it depends. Between men and women, it depends.
So are you willing to admit that you had no idea what you were talking about when it came to pull-ups, or you just made that up out of thin air?
I mean, I was in the ballpark. I just didn't give you the exact.
Oh, you were in the ball. You weren't in the ballpark. No, there are no standards.
I was.
So you're making the case that you have to do a certain number of pull-ups as a physical requirement to be in the military?
Yeah, it depends on what branch in the military. Like, for example, if you're talking about Navy SEALs, is generally
we weren't talking about Navy SEALs. We were talking about brave men and women that serve in the military that can go to war. We weren't talking about specifically Navy SEAls, and that's not what you said.
Right, but there's different branches of the military.
Okay, so if you're okay, gotcha. So by your standard, you just Googled it because you didn't know, and then you Googled something that said, well, wait a second, Navy SEALs. Yeah, I understand there are different standards for different people in different elements of the military, but you just made a gross claim that you think women don't have to physically do the same demands as men do to be serving, and you are 150% incorrect. Thank you for calling into the show. I think everybody, I think the standards are lower for people like you that are Andrew Wilson fans that call into the show that have absolutely no idea what they're talking about. You just proved it because you're an imbecile. So go ahead and watch that chain-smoking alcoholic piece of human garbage and misogynist pig, Andrew Wilson, and have a nice day. I think we know who the stupid person was in that conversation. Let's go to Upstate. Upstate's next up on PTL. What's up, Upstate?
Brian, oh my God, how much weed is this guy smoking?
A lot, apparently.
Listen, I got a question for you. Can you hear me okay? I'm on a new phone.
You're
I wanna
good.
Make sure.
Yeah, you're good. Yep.
Okay, cool. So I'm watching the Pam Bondi thing yesterday, and I'm kind of confused about something. Do you think these people think that they're just playing characters on TV and that they don't have any kind of real effect on people at all?
Yes. I think the short answer is yes. I think a lot of them are cosplay idiots like Ted Cruz's of the world and others. They play a certain personality on TV and they forget that they're actually supposed to be representing their constituents and they actually have a job to do as lawmakers, but they forget that. They think it's a reality show.
Well, I can say with all honesty that congressional hearing yesterday was awful.
Oh, it was an abomination.
I've never seen anything like that.
An abomination. It was, but you know what, sir? The bottom line here is that's who the Pam Bondi supporters of the world are. All right, we have somebody on the line named Bro. This could be an interesting phone call. Hello, Bro.
What's up, Brian?
What's up, Bro?
Hey, I'm not your bro. All right, we're gonna get that off the table right now. I'm not your bro.
Fair enough, bro.
My question is, are you still dating a MAGA girl?
Why do you want to know about my dating life?
I mean, I think now it's just pretty divisive. I think you're a public figure, right?
Yeah. So does that mean if you're anti-Donald Trump, you can't be friends or date somebody that at one time voted for Trump? Is that what you're saying?
That's not what I'm saying.
Oh, so what are you saying? So why are you asking then?
I'll get to it. Why are you so defensive?
I'm asking. No, I'm not getting defensive. I'm just curious. Do you think it's wrong for somebody that is anti-Donald Trump to associate themselves with, whether it be dating or friendship with someone who at one point did vote for Donald Trump? Do you think that's inappropriate?
No, I don't think so. But
Okay,
what about
good.
at 3 points?
Excuse me?
What about at 3 points? Because you said she's
3
a triple
points?
Trumper.
No, the person that I was referring to, I was wrong. Did not vote for Donald Trump 3 times. So I was wrong when I made that. So why are you so concerned about my dating life? Are you jealous? Would you like to date me?
Make sure you're doing good, man. Yeah, dude, you're a hot commodity.
Okay, you want to make sure I'm doing good. Well, geez, sir. If I ever need therapy, I'll definitely give you a call, bro. Okay.
And I do have a serious question. Serious question.
I'm waiting for the serious one because that was not a serious question.
What does your MAGA girlfriend think about you getting?
So you have
life
another.
advice from an OnlyFans girl?
So you have another question about my dating personal life. Let's talk a little bit about you, bro. How old are you and what's your real name? Because you're the coward who calls into the show that uses the word bro because you're too much of a fairy queen to give your real name.
Fairy queen.
So why don't you tell us? Why don't you tell us your real name? Give us your first real name and what do you do for work? Since you want to know
My
about.
real name is.
Yeah, go ahead.
My real name is
Sure.
Jesse, and I'm a former veteran.
Okay. Thank you for your service, sir, but you didn't answer my question. I didn't ask you if you served the country. Jesse, what's your last name?
I'm not gonna put my real last name out here.
So you want to know about my personal life and who I'm dating, but Jesse doesn't want to tell. Jesse, I don't care. Jesse, I don't care what you think about me. Jesse, where do you live? Jesse, where do you live? Jesse, tell us a little bit about and what do you do for work?
Vegas.
Okay, so Jesse.
In Vegas.
Okay, so Jesse, what do you do for
work?
work?
At a radio station in a
Okay,
strip mall.
so Jesse, you don't want to tell us what you really do for work? Pot him down for a second. So Jesse seems to be obsessed with my personal life. And I get the sense that Jesse probably pleasures himself to a picture of me every day. Not only is he obsessed about what I'm dating, he's obsessed about the vehicle I'm driving. He's obsessed about where I work. Sounds a little bit like Jesse being a stalker. But you notice how Jesse wants to talk about my personal life and obsess over it. But Jesse doesn't want to tell anybody about his personal life. Because Jesse, here's what I think about you, Jesse. I think you're somebody that's very unhappy with your life. And it makes you feel better when you call into a radio show and you talk to somebody that is a little bit more successful than you and actually is a public figure. Because, Jesse, nobody cares about your opinions. Nobody cares about who you're dating. And I would imagine women have not gone anywhere near you. And you haven't made a play on a woman since your senior prom. So, Jesse, thank you for calling into the show. Have a very nice day. And next time when you call in, please come at me with something a little bit more serious than who are you dating, Brian? I'm sorry, Jesse, but if I had a fetish for middle-aged, uneducated, and ill-informed white dudes who are Donald Trump supporters, maybe you would have a chance. But I'm sorry, that's not my fetish, Jesse. Have a very nice day. Let's go to Jason. Jason is next on PTL. What's up, Jason?
First of all, I want to say thank you to everybody from Minnesota for being brave, for going through almost like a war. Actually, it was a war, and we did have casualties. So I want to thank everybody from Minnesota. If you're from Minnesota, thank you, thank you. And to the rest of the country, that's how we do it. We don't lay down, we stand up. That's number one. Number two, Abby Phillips is a big girl. Her name is on the show. If she can't combat Scott Jennings, she don't deserve the show.
I don't think she does a good enough. I don't think she does a good enough job. I'll be honest with you. I'm sure she's. I'm sure she's a very nice lady, but I don't think she does a good enough job in combating Scott Jennings. And I'm always every night I'm disappointed in her. She seems like she's a very nice person, but I don't think she's very good at her job. I'll be honest with you.
I agree. But number two, number three, I'll mention it now. In the Marines, it's 34 men pull-ups, 34 Marine men and 15 for women. So that's number one. Number two, it's for regular service, it's 17 to 20 pull-ups. But more than anything, women are not ready for combat because if I get shot and I'm next to a woman, she can't drag me nowhere. If I'm 250-pound solid man, she can't pick
Jason,
me up.
I've been very consistent on this. If a woman can pass what a man can pass, which are the basic standards of being in the military, then I have no problem with them being there. I think it should be the same standard for man or woman. I've been very, very consistent on that. There are some women that can pass those standards, not all women and not all men. And I've been very fair and consistent on that, and I've maintained that opinion the whole route.
And last but not least, I want to say one more thing to all the people that didn't vote for Hillary Clinton.
years ago, the reason why Donald Trump's in office now. Jason, I completely disagree with you on that one, my friend, and I appreciate your call. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Dave. Dave is next up on PTL. What's going on, Dave?
What's up, Brian? Thanks for taking my call. How you
Sure.
doing?
Good. What's on your mind today?
For one thing, your screen got froze, so that's another thing.
On YouTube?
Yep, on YouTube. No, it's just fine now. It's good. That's good.
Oh, okay.
So hey, for one thing, my points are this. I mean, everybody's calling everybody names and all this other stuff. For one thing, if you guys call in about abortion and women right to have a choose, you don't have that right because you don't got a uterus. You don't have a vagina, so you don't got that right to tell a woman what to do.
That's very, very fair.
So don't you dare.
I don't disagree.
So don't you dare call this show unless you got a uterus. Okay, number two, I don't know if you know anything about what's going on in Iran, but they're already building military force right now near Iran. They got 2 destroyers, 3 combat ships, a USS Abraham Lincoln, and 3 destroyers, and 1 guided missile destroyer already set up in Iran. We better get ready because it looks like he's going to do something, to stop this midterm. You know what I'm saying?
It's possible. I certainly don't take that out of the realm of possibility, Dave. And I completely agree, by the way, with what you said to start the phone call about abortion. It's like the people that are making decisions for women are usually crusty, middle-aged, old or older men that don't know what it's like to be pregnant. So certainly I couldn't agree with you more. Let's go to Ryan. Ryan is next up on PTL. Hi, Ryan.
Hi. Puerto Rico is located approximately 1,000 miles southeast of Miami, Florida. This is for Fetterman.
In regards to Fetterman, come again. What did you say about Fetterman?
I want to only tell them that Puerto Rico is located approximately 1,000 miles southeast of Miami, Florida.
Well, I'll tell you this. When it comes to John Fetterman, because you had brought him up, I was wrong. Sometimes I get it wrong. I was wrong not voting for Hillary Clinton in 2016, and I was wrong saying all the pleasantries I said about John Fetterman when he defeated Dr. Oz. Now, to be truthful, if John Fetterman was running against Dr. Oz today, I probably would still have to vote for Fetterman because Dr. Oz is a Trump mushroom gobbler. But I am so disappointed in John Fetterman, I can't even begin to tell you. His unprofessionalism, his failure to call out MAGA Republicans on almost every issue, coddling to Kristi Noem when we know that there are ICE agents out there that have committed murder, executing people in the streets. And Kristi Noem called Miss Good a domestic terrorist. They called Alex Preddy an assassin. And John Fetterman doesn't want to bring up their names, but he wants to talk about how people are calling Kristi Noem some names on social media. John Fetterman is an embarrassment to this country. And I am very sad that he ever won to begin with. I'm not saying Dr. Oz would have been any better because I don't think he would have been. But I'm very disappointed in John Fetterman. I suggest that he goes home. He learns how to dress. He learns how to be a professional. Put on something that represents your constituents, not a warm-up shirt and sandals, because quite frankly, he's an embarrassment. I suggest that he actually listens to his own constituents and listen to his fellow Democrats. And I don't know what that stroke did to that man's brain, but he is not the same John Fetterman that he was a couple years ago. I can tell you that right now. All right, everybody, we'll be back at it tomorrow. If you have the opportunity, please check out my debate with Tom Rentz yesterday. It's on my YouTube page. The Andrew Wilson 4.5-hour debate is on there too, by the way. Got a lot of views. And sign up for my Facebook, subscribe. We just passed 88,000 subs. We might get to 90,000 by the end of the day today. So please check out my Facebook page, the Pushing the Limits fan page. And on the bottom of the screen, you'll see the website. It's pushingthelimits.live. Again, the website is pushingthelimits.live. If you want to support me, if you want to support this show, if you enjoy what I do, and you want to do something to help us keep the lights on here and support what we do, make a donation. It'll cost you, it'll take 2 minutes of your time, $5 a month, $10 a month, $20 a month, one-time donation. Obviously, we'll accept whatever you can afford, and we greatly appreciate it at pushingthelimits.live. Thank you to everybody, YouTube, super chatting, everybody that has been a part of what we are doing. We appreciate all you guys, even the MAGA mushroom gobblers. Thank you for tuning in and listening. We're going to be back at it tomorrow, same time, same place.
look forward to it tomorrow, and we'll have some very special guests tomorrow on the show as well. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a great day.
Hey, everybody. Are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premier Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super hero, that is, because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.